The story opens in a quiet garage where Charlie, a skilled technical expert, is meticulously repairing an old airplane. It's not just any aircraft. This was a birthday gift from his wife, Sarah. Just then, Sarah arrives. She's about to leave for an important business conference in London. With warmth in her voice, she asked Charlie to come along with her this time, to spend some quality time together. But as always, Charlie politely declines, using work as an excuse. Soon, Charlie heads to the CIA headquarters. He passes through high-tech security scanners, the very ones he helped design. Once inside, he walks into his real work zone, the department responsible for decryption and data analysis. That's where Charlie thrives, breaking complex codes and decoding sensitive intelligence. Amid his usual work routine, he receives a message from someone named Inkline, a mysterious contact he's been secretly communicating with for years. This informant regularly provides Charlie with classified intel, but this time the tone is different. Inkline warns that the documents he's sharing now could pose a serious threat to the CIA itself. Alarmed, Charlie immediately begins tracing the source of this information, but Inkline avoids giving any direct answers. Suspicious and intrigued, Charlie begins decoding the new data, but the encryption is far more complicated than anything he's encountered before. After lunch, as he returns to his desk, Sarah calls. She informs him she's arrived safely in London, but Charlie already knew. He had secretly been tracking her location. Their call is short. Charlie's mind is consumed by the encrypted code. Still unable to break it, Charlie picks up his laptop and enters a restricted area within CIA HQ. There, he gains access to an advanced system to speed up his decoding process. Unaware, Charlie is about to uncover something that will change his life forever. After hours of relentless work and deep analysis, Charlie finally cracks the file open. But what he reads leaves him stunned. These aren't ordinary documents. They contain top-secret information that the US government has been hiding from the world. The files reveal that what the media reported as a terrorist suicide bombing was, in fact, a covert drone strike conducted by the US government. The attack had killed 150 people, including members of the French Special Forces and Danish Marines. If the truth came out, it would tarnish the CIA's and America's global image beyond repair. The most devastating part? The mastermind behind the operation was none other than Charlie's own boss, Chief Moore, a man he had trusted for years. This revelation shatters Charlie. That night, he tries calling Sarah again and again, but she doesn't answer. Heartbroken, he leaves her a voicemail. The next day at the office, Moore is already waiting for him. He escorts Charlie straight to CIA Director O'Brien's office, where they deliver horrifying news. There's been a terrorist attack at a hotel in London, and Sarah was among the victims. Charlie refuses to believe it. He demands to speak to Sarah himself. That's when Moore turns on the TV and shows a live news broadcast. The report confirms that 4 terrorists stormed the hotel, took hostages, and killed multiple people. Moore then shows Charlie CCTV footage, gunfire, screams, and chaos. And in the midst of it all, Charlie sees Sarah. She's one of the people killed. Shattered, Charlie returns home, only to find media crews swarming outside. Police try to hold them back, but reporters bombard him with questions. A friend arrives just in time and pulls Charlie away from the chaos. The next day, as Charlie begins to gather himself, his mind is filled with doubt. Was this really just a terrorist attack, or was it something more sinister? Determined, Charlie confronts Moore and Supervisor Caleb. Something doesn't add up. How could terrorists so easily carry out such an operation in a heavily surveilled city like London? Every street, every hotel, every alley is covered by cameras. So how did they pull this off without being noticed? When Charlie raises these questions, Moore brushes them off, saying the investigation is ongoing. Caleb urges Charlie to go home and rest. The following day, Charlie arrives at the airport to receive Sarah's body and belongings. The pain is unbearable. As he opens her suitcase at home, he finds a small, personal gift she had bought for him. Holding it in his hands, Charlie breaks down. Tears stream down his face and his heart fills with grief and rage. Unable to sit still, he returns to the CIA office and once again logs into the restricted system. Without permission, he starts his own investigation. Charlie hacks into every available CCTV feed, outside and inside the hotel, entrances, parking areas, everything. He compiles all the footage into a detailed timeline and begins piecing together the incident. Eventually, Charlie uncovers a shocking truth. The 4 terrorists had first stolen a car from the East End. The 4 terrorists drive through the hotel's service entrance in a stolen vehicle. Meticulously trained, they had erased all traces of fingerprints and DNA, leaving no clue behind. Inside, they attended a scheduled meeting with representatives of an Indonesian firm, Impact Investment. But the discussion escalates quickly. Tempers flare. A security guard, angered by the confrontation, steps forward in protest. That's when one of the terrorists pulls out a gun and opens fire. One guard dies instantly, and the other is critically wounded. Gunshots ring through the hotel, and security springs into action. Within moments, the local police are alerted. Realizing they're trapped, the terrorists barge into a nearby conference room and take everyone inside hostage. This is where the real nightmare begins. When Charlie learns the truth, that Sarah died trying to protect innocent lives, his grief turns into boiling rage. Without wasting a second, he uses his technical prowess to uncover the real identities of the 4 attackers. First, there's Mishka, a notorious Russian operative. Second, Lawrence, a former Special Forces soldier from South Africa. Third, Horace, a cold-blooded killer who'd murder anyone for money. And finally, Gretchen, an ex-agent from an undisclosed intelligence agency. But when Charlie presents this damning information to Moore and Caleb, their reactions tell him everything. This wasn't new to them. They already knew, which means they had deliberately kept him in the dark about Sarah's murder. Instead of answering him, Moore coldly sends Charlie to a therapist. But Charlie doesn't want pity. He wants the truth. The next day, he hatches a plan. He hides a special chip in his CIA ID badge, one that can bypass security scanner. At the office, he accesses classified files, prints them, and uses a custom device to digitally copy the data. That night, Charlie sits alone at a bar, staring blankly at a jukebox, haunted by memories of Sarah. The next morning, he walks back into CIA headquarters, not empty-handed this time. In his possession are physical documents exposing the agency's darkest secrets: a bombing on a Syrian hospital, civilian casualties in Yemen, and more. Charlie issues a chilling threat. I've activated a dead man switch. If I don't input a specific code into a secure system every 5 hours, this intel will be leaked to global news outlets. He then makes a bold demand. I want full CIA training, a fake passport, a large sum of money, a weapon, and every last detail on those 4 terrorists. Because Charlie isn't just an analyst anymore. He's a hunter. As soon as he gets into his car, his body trembles. Overwhelmed by stress, he vomits. It hits him. This isn't just a mission. It's survival. Back at the CIA, Moore refuses to believe Charlie has actually activated a dead man switch. It's just a bluff, he claims. But Caleb disagrees. If he's not bluffing, and we take this lightly, the consequences will be catastrophic. Agents begin retracing Charlie's every move. First question: how did he manage to copy such sensitive documents? They suspect he used a skimmer, unable to hack the secure CIA system directly, but able to extract data through a connected printer, meaning Charlie must have first routed the files to a printer, then used a magnetic strip device to steal the data. Security footage confirms their suspicions. Charlie had recently purchased a magnetic strip device from a local store. But the real mystery remains. How did he get that device into the CIA building, and how did he get it back out? The agents search Charlie's house and discover he visited the same bar twice. When they inspect the jukebox, they find an old ABBA music CD beneath it. But when Caleb plays it, there's no music, only strange static and garbled noise. That's when they realize it's not a music CD, it's a custom digital device. Likely Charlie's data stash is hidden right there. They seize the disc immediately. Meanwhile, Charlie has arrived at a CIA training facility, greeted by Colonel Henderson, a stern man who's about to reshape Charlie into something new. The training begins with firearms, but Charlie struggles. He's not a natural shooter. He can only hit targets when standing very close. However, when it comes to bomb making, Charlie stuns everyone. His speed and precision in assembling explosives leaves even Colonel Henderson impressed. For the first time, Henderson starts taking him seriously. Now, Charlie must embrace a new identity for his upcoming mission. The training intensifies. Henderson pushes him to his limits, yelling, provoking, applying psychological pressure, testing whether Charlie can maintain his focus under extreme mental strain. Can he truly become someone else? Can he forget who he once was? Finally, Charlie's fake passport and new identity are ready. But that same night, something happens that shakes him deeply. Colonel Henderson enters his room with a serious tone and says, "You're not a killer." Charlie's eyes are filled with both pain and fire. He says only one thing: "I just want justice." Without a word, Henderson pulls out a pistol and hands it to him. "If you really want to become a killer, then shoot me." Charlie's fingers tremble. His hands shake. He raises the gun, but after a few seconds, he lowers it again, because deep down, his humanity still breathes. He hasn't turned into a murderer, not yet, but the thirst for revenge, it's still burning. Back at CIA headquarters, the agents spend hours analyzing the CD Charlie had left behind, and what they discover leaves them stunned. Charlie's so-called dead man switch was a bluff, a fake threat, but it was convincing enough that everyone believed it. They report it to Moore, but they don't realize that Charlie is listening to every word. The chip he planted inside his CIA badge was actually a bug, and he had also planted another one in the files he gave to his seniors. Now, Charlie is listening live. As soon as Moore realizes this, he calls Henderson in a panic. "Arrest Charlie, now!" But it's already too late. Charlie has escaped from the CIA training center. Moore finally traces the bug and contacts Charlie directly. "What you're doing is treason," Moore warns. But Charlie is done listening. He rips out his earpiece and throws it away, as if to say, "I'm not part of your system anymore." Charlie reaches London Airport, clears immigration with ease, and quietly makes his way toward Paris. But a new problem arises. His fake passport triggers an alert in the CIA system. Moore immediately orders Henderson, "Track him, don't let him disappear." Charlie arrives in Paris and checks into a hotel, just a few blocks away from the cafe where Gretchen is known to visit frequently. Days of surveillance finally pay off. Charlie spots her. Once she's within tracking range, he begins tracing her phone. He waits patiently outside her building until the moment she leaves. As soon as another tenant exits, Charlie uses the opportunity to slip inside. He watches an online video, learns how to pick the lock, and breaks into Gretchen's flat. Inside, he carefully searches every corner and finds Gretchen's diary and photographs of her meetings, tracking her routines and contacts. In a drawer, he also finds a handgun, which he keeps. Suddenly, his tracker buzzes. Gretchen is coming back. Charlie rushes to the stairwell and hides. She enters the apartment. Charlie sees her. His finger hovers over the trigger, but his hand trembles. He can't do it. His humanity still stops him from killing without cause. Exhausted and emotionally drained, Charlie returns to his hotel. For a moment, he pretends Sarah is still with him, like she's just in the other room, waiting. Later, he examines the photos taken from Gretchen's apartment and finds something crucial. He learns that Gretchen frequently visits a hospital. Digging deeper, he hacks into her medical records and finds out she has a severe pollen allergy. The next morning, Charlie buys a bouquet of flowers and waits at a cafe nearby. When she finally leaves her home, Charlie quietly follows her. Just as he expected, she's headed to the hospital. Once she's inside, undergoing tests, a system glitch prompts the doctor to step out. Charlie seizes the moment, puts on a doctor's coat and enters. He locks Gretchen inside the test chamber and begins releasing pollen. She panics and screams, but Charlie remains calm. Her face begins to swell, her breathing becomes shallow. She's choking, slowly collapsing under the allergic reaction. Charlie leans in, voice cold. "Tell me where Horst is, the man who killed Sarah, and I'll help you." But Gretchen can't speak. Her body is shutting down. Charlie hesitates, then finally opens the chamber. But just as he moves to help her, Gretchen attacks him, slamming him into the table. A violent struggle erupts. They crash into walls, furniture, everything. Charlie tries to pull out his gun, but Gretchen knocks it away. She escapes the room. Charlie runs after her into the street, gun in hand. Suddenly, a speeding car slams into Gretchen. Charlie freezes. In shock, he walks toward her lifeless body and picks up her phone with trembling hands. Without looking back, he walks away. Outside, he dumps the doctor's outfit into a trash can and returns to his hotel. He cleans himself up, packs quickly, and heads to the bus station. That night, he buys a one-way ticket to Marseille. Back at CIA headquarters, news of Gretchen's death reaches them. Director O'Brien questions Moore. Moore simply shrugs. Probably one of our own agents took her out. Meanwhile, Charlie sits at a bar, drowning in guilt and whiskey. He stares at the dance floor, and for a moment, he sees a woman. And it feels like Sarah. From a distance, Charlie spots a woman on the dance floor. For a moment, he thinks it's Sarah. His heart skips a beat, but as he approaches, he realizes it's just someone who resembles her. Just then, his eyes catch Colonel Henderson entering the bar, heading straight toward him. Charlie panics. He pushes through the crowd and runs outside. Racing through narrow alleys, he slips into another bar to hide, hoping to lose Henderson. But to his shock, Henderson follows him in. Now, completely shaken, Charlie dashes into the bathroom and locks the door behind him. But there's no window or exit, no way to escape. Left with no choice, he takes a deep breath, unlocks the door, and steps out to face Henderson. Henderson tells him he tracked him here using Gretchen's phone signal. Before Charlie can say much, he reveals a phone with a countdown timer ticking on the screen. Henderson barely has time to process it. Charlie bolts out of the bar. Seconds later, a massive explosion rocks the place. Screams fill the air, panic breaks out, and in all the chaos, Henderson vanishes from Charlie's radar, his phone tracker now offline. The next morning, Charlie reaches out to his old hacker ally, Inquilin, a mysterious informant who's helped him for years. He boards a cargo plane and lands in Istanbul, Turkey. At a local cafe, Charlie sends a message to Inquilin. He notices a man picking up his phone and thinks it's him. But then, a mysterious woman approaches and tells him to look at his screen. When he does, she reappears and says, "I'm Inquilin." She already knows everything about Sarah's death. Calmly, she instructs Charlie to hide his hat and bag in a shopping bag and blend into the market for a while, pretending to browse. Later, she takes him to a nearby garage and then drives him to her hideout. On the way, she shares her story. Her husband was a double agent, working for both the CIA and the Russians. He was the original Inquilin. After his suspicious death, reported as an accident, she learned to hack on her own. The official report said he fell from a window, but she always believed he was murdered. They arrive at her house. "I've been in hiding here for the last 3 years," she says, "and I'm done running. If the Russians ever come for me, I'll take my own life before they get the chance." Now focused, the two get to work. Charlie and Inquilin start tracking down the 3 people responsible for Sarah's death. First on the list, Horse, the muscle who recruits mercenaries for more, a dangerous man with a bloody record. Second, Lawrence, an infamous international arms dealer. Inquilin offers to pose as a weapons supplier to make contact with him. Third, Mishka, a globe-trotting operative who frequently shares photos of his travels on social media. Charlie and Inquilin scan his photos carefully. One of them shows Mishka with a woman. Using facial recognition software, they identify her and find out she's currently in Spain. Meanwhile in America, Caleb alerts the CIA team. Surveillance is now active on all suspects, hoping it'll eventually lead them to Charlie. CIA Director O'Brien meets with Moore and firmly warns him, "No secret operations will happen without my approval." Moore stays calm and replies, "That's exactly what your predecessor said. I gave him the same assurance." But behind the scenes, Moore is still doing things his way. Later that day, when O'Brien gets into her car, her assistant shows her a photo sent from Spain. It's Henderson, spotted in Madrid. That confirms Moore secretly sent him there. So O'Brien plays her own move. She dispatches her most trusted field agent to shadow Henderson in Madrid. Back in Spain, Charlie and Inquilin successfully track Mishka. They hack into the surveillance system of a luxury hotel and confirm that Mishka is staying there. Charlie immediately prepares for what comes next. Charlie checks into the same luxury hotel in Madrid where Mishka is staying. Soon, he learns that Mishka has a deep passion for swimming, especially in the hotel's iconic rooftop infinity pool that stretches between 2 high-rise towers. Charlie starts planning his move. Unbeknownst to him, Henderson has already arrived in Madrid and is watching him from the hotel lobby. The next day, Charlie designs a custom device to track and control Mishka. He cleverly hides the gadget inside the hotel. That evening, Mishka shows up at the bar, and Charlie follows. But suddenly, he notices a familiar face among the crowd. Realizing someone is tailing him, Charlie immediately informs Inquilin via earpiece. She scans the suspect's face and confirms through facial recognition. It's a CIA agent. Even worse, she spots Henderson on another surveillance camera. Now the situation is dire. Inquilin urgently advises Charlie to abort the mission and get out immediately, but Charlie refuses. "I'm not backing out now," he says. Later, Mishka goes up to the rooftop pool for a swim. Charlie confronts him directly and demands, "Where's Horse?" Mishka laughs mockingly. Charlie warns him that if he doesn't talk, the entire pool might collapse. Mishka just smirks and swims away. Then, Charlie hits a button. Cracks start forming in the glass walls of the pool. Mishka, now alarmed, swims toward the edge, but it's too late. The glass bursts, and the entire pool empties into the street far below. Mishka plunges with it and dies on impact. Inquilin instantly radios Charlie, "Henderson and another agent are headed your way. Run, now!" A high-speed, high-stakes chase begins. Henderson nearly catches Charlie, but suddenly the second CIA agent attacks Henderson. They end up brawling in the hotel laundry room in a brutal hand-to-hand fight. They slam each other into machines, walls, and floors. The agent tries to suffocate Henderson using a washing machine. Henderson wrestles back and finally shoots the agent after a struggle for the gun. Charlie watches all of this from the doorway, unsure whether to help, but Inquilin's voice reminds him, "Your real mission is revenge. Keep going." The next day, CIA Director O'Brien summons Moore and sternly asks, "Where is Charlie?" Moore coolly responds, "He's on bereavement leave, recovering from his wife's death." O'Brien lets him go, but as soon as he leaves, she inserts a USB into her computer and begins reviewing hotel surveillance footage. Elsewhere, Caleb and his team are doing the same, and they make a big discovery. Charlie wasn't alone. Someone was helping him. When they inspect Charlie's encrypted chat logs, they uncover his conversations with Inquilin. Digging deeper, they find a file of a deceased CIA agent, Inquilin, and begin suspecting that the person helping Charlie might be that agent's wife, now operating under his identity. That night, Charlie and Inquilin grow closer. They lie down together, not romantically, but seeking comfort in each other's presence. Suddenly, Inquilin's pet birds begin screeching loudly. They check the security feed and see CIA agents surrounding the house. They escape through a hidden tunnel. Outside, Charlie notices a drone overhead tracking them. Moments later, the agents storm the house. But it's too late. The computers are already wiping all data. Charlie and Inquilin flee toward the coast. But the drone has locked onto them, and soon bullets begin flying. Some agents even follow by boat. Their car takes heavy damage during the chase, and Inquilin is shot. Charlie pulls her into the passenger seat and keeps driving until he loses the agents. Finally, he reaches an old garage and stops the car. He holds Inquilin's hand one last time, says goodbye, and leaves her behind. Now, only one thing remains: revenge. The next morning, Charlie begins preparations to meet Lawrence, the arms dealer who was part of the deadly plot. Charlie poses as a fellow weapons supplier to get close. He purchases several electronic devices and heads to Romania. In a remote, abandoned building, Charlie records a video of his face and hacks into Berlin's security feed. He creates a diversion to make the CIA believe he's hiding somewhere in Berlin. The agency immediately sends a team there. Meanwhile, Lawrence arrives at the designated location and finds a ringing phone placed on a chair. As he answers it, Charlie's voice comes through. "Check the box." Lawrence opens the box and finds several bombs inside, along with a photo of Sarah. Suddenly, Charlie appears and asks calmly, "Where is Horse?" He warns Lawrence that if he tells him the truth, the bombs will be deactivated. Panicked, Lawrence reveals that Horse operates in Russian waters and usually handles deliveries through the Baltic Sea. When Charlie asks how they stay in touch, Lawrence admits, "Only through encrypted codes, all stored in my phone." Then, Lawrence throws the phone away. Charlie quietly picks it up and walks away. Moments later, the bombs explode, killing Lawrence instantly. When the CIA learns about the explosion, they realize they were deceived. The Berlin footage they had seen was fake. Charlie was actually operating from Romania. The story now reaches its final turning point. In a quiet Russian hotel, Charlie sits alone, remembering Sarah. He pulls out the layered onion-shaped puzzle she once gave him. As he solves it, a recorded message from Sarah plays. Her loving words bring tears to his eyes. The next morning, Charlie arrives at the seaport and spots a suspicious car. He sends a fake legal notice to Horse's men, causing one of them to check his phone. Charlie follows him discreetly and snaps photos of their boat. Back at the hotel, he tracks the boat using its number and studies the marine routes to find out where Horse might be hiding. Early the next morning, as he approaches the boat, someone hits him from behind, and Charlie loses consciousness. When he wakes up, he finds himself aboard Horse's luxury yacht. Horse throws him a gun and says, "Go ahead, show me your courage. Kill me face to face." Charlie lifts the gun but lowers it again. He refuses to pull the trigger. Suddenly, the yacht veers sharply. The entire crew starts panicking. Charlie smirks and says, "This yacht is now under my control." It turns out the yacht was a CIA secure vessel, and Charlie himself had helped design its systems. He had hacked it remotely and redirected it toward Finland. Soon, Finnish Navy ships and Interpol surround the yacht, arresting Horse and his entire crew. A while later, Director O'Brien holds a press conference announcing that all corrupt CIA agents involved in illegal operations have been apprehended. The truth is finally out, and justice has been served. Charlie is hailed as a hero. Someone comes up to him and says with admiration, "I'm proud of you." In the film's final scene, Charlie visits Sarah's grave. He stands there silently, offering her his final goodbye. Then, he boards the very plane Sarah had once gifted him, a symbol of their bond, of dreams left unfinished. That plane now takes off, flying high with one name etched in memory: Charlie, the mature, the man who kept the truth alive in a world built on secrets. And with that, Charlie's story comes to an end.